What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
All right, well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. Hey, I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. Want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live Morning Show Edition. And you know what? I think we're going to go over some evidence that I think the Lions have got a pretty good shot at winning the North, winning and getting into the playoffs. We're going to break that all down, give you at least my thoughts. I can't wait to hear from you guys. I know some of you guys, hey, like all of us, we're kind of feeling a certain way about the team, where they're at, can they rebound? You know, we haven't looked good at moments. All that can be true, but all that can also mean that we're getting ready to peak. We did a video yesterday on Jameson Williams starting to grow, develop. I think most of us agree. Sorry, guys, I've got a bit of a cold emerging, so I'm going to power through it as best I can. Anyways, I think Jameson Williams is starting to grow and emerge. Doesn't mean he's perfect, but I think he is starting to go to another level. I think when you break down some of the stuff on the offensive line, there are some bright spots here, some other stuff that has to be, fixed up. The nuts and bolts of it all, when we're going to break down the Bears schedule, the Packers schedule, the Minnesota Vikings schedule, obviously the Lions schedule, but I think the Lions are setting up to have a bit of a run here in the NFC North and push for the title, let alone get into the playoffs. We're going to break that all down during the main top of the day. Real quick, before we get to the main top of the day, if you would be so kind, hit the thumbs up button. You know we try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're roughly 70 subs away from hitting 15,700. If you can assist with that, that would be great, and I'll owe you all a crisp, clean high five. All right, we're going to kick this one off with 5 headlines now, and I do want to apologize for something yesterday. I know there's some people that do not view life the way I do. Towards the end of the show, I know a few people really didn't like some of the positive Pete stuff that I have to say. That's just how I'm wired, guys. I can't apologize for it. I don't walk into any game thinking my team's going to lose, that I'm going to lose. It's just how I am, having covered this team, this organization, this franchise for, 30 plus years. We all understand there's been a whole lot of down times in this organization. Right now at 6-4, and I think some very winnable games coming up. Can we push for the playoffs? Absolutely. So if I can find positive things to write about the 0-16 team, you better believe I can find some positive stuff to talk about with a 6-4 team trending towards the playoffs. All right, let's get this show rocking, rolling, G.I. Joe going, and kicking off with 5 headlines now. How you guys doing today anyways? And again, apologies if I have to clear my throat a little bit or, get something to drink. I'm fighting through the cold a little bit. All right, discussion. Will the Detroit Lions make the playoffs in 2025? SB Nation. We're going to analyze the schedules for all the teams during the main top of the day, but here's the big question facing all Lions fans. It's been a roller coaster season. We all knew there would be a season of flux for the team because of some changes in the offensive line, because with the coordinators. If you listen to all the national pundits, those who say, man, you can't do this, you can't do that. Remember, everybody nationally said the Lions couldn't make the playoffs this year because they had to switch in the OC, the DC, etc. Well, if you want to believe that they're right, then you know what? John Morton's giving you every bit of evidence you need to corroborate that opinion. John Morton, relieved of duties of calling plays. Dan Campbell assumed the duties. We all get it. I'm not going to bore you with that. But then there's the other side of the coin. Kelvin Shepard, we need to probably appreciate how good he's been as a rookie defensive coordinator because the defense has been lights out. You can say what you want about Sunday's game. One thing nobody in the nation is saying, I don't even care if you're the most, biggest hater of the Lions or this season or not. we can all probably agree the Detroit Lions defense has been a chef's kiss. Kelvin Shepard, he's the asterisk. He's the Rocky Balboa. He's whatever kind of upset-minded person you want to bring up, the James J. Braddock, if you guys want, of things. Just somebody nobody saw coming, comes out of nowhere to lead this defense and make them one of the best defenses in the National Football League. Some other stuff. Hey, do you expect the Lions to make the playoffs? Per this report, yes, they do. And, I'm not going to go through every reason why they give, but you look at a lot of stuff. We'll talk about this in the main topic of the day. I do think the Lions are going to make it. I do think the Lions have some holes that are improving. And, as those holes improve, the offensive line, I think you're going to see more steady play out of the offense. Or at least that's what it's going to have to be. Otherwise, we're all going to probably be looking forward to free agency and then the draft. But in my humble opinion, I think the Lions have not been overall bad. We also could do the schedule game. Raise your hand in the comments section. And you got to be honest here. At the start of the season, before we even played a game, when you looked at the schedule, how many of you had us beating the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm going to guess, but I don't know, obviously, that the vast majority of people actually had us losing that game. Probably the one upset out there is the Minnesota Vikings. We get it. I get it. Hey, it was an upset, but upsets happen. So it is what it is. All right, let's move on from that headline to the next one. Probably some positive news here. Lions activate linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez off reserve/pub list. NBC Sports, story by Miles Simmons with this one. I think this doesn't just help out the defense, but what's one of the bigger weaknesses in the Detroit Lions this year? It's been the special teams. We get the special teams coverage. It's been a little spotty, and it's probably affected some of the games. We talked about the Minnesota Vikings game. You know what? It was probably one of the contributing factors to that loss. Malcolm Rodriguez came out, and you know what? When he is added to the team, I think he's going to assist with special teams quite a bit. We'll have to see how it pans out, but my humble opinion, I think Malcolm Rodriguez is going to be a big boon, not only to the depth of the defense, but also to the special teams. Pay attention to that one. All right, what Lions snap count against Eagles reveals. Detroit Lions and SI, story by Christian Boer. Let's go through the snap count here. We're going to start off here with the running backs. Gibbs, not a big surprise, 73% of the snaps. Montgomery, we'll just round up and say 40% of the snaps. Sailors, he played some special teams. So did Baki. Got out there on special teams, did this and that. Will these guys get more involved in the actual offense? Hey, inquiring minds want to know. No, I'm not going to go through the quarterback play. I think you guys get it. The quarterback was Goff all the way. Brock Wright, he's not going to be Sam Laporta. He is a different type of player, but he did get 83% of the snaps. Ross Dwelly, got the 2% of the snaps. Now, it's not on this screen, but it will be on the next screen. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 97. Jameson Williams, 95. Khalif Raymond, 64. Isaac Tesla, 34%. Yes, 5 special team snaps. Dominic Lovett, one snap, and I guess I missed it during the game. Jackson Meeks did play one snap on offense, and it was as a tight end. I think maybe in hindsight, this has been a part of the Lions' plan since maybe training camp. If you go back and rewatch some of his routes and where they placed him on things, I think Jackson Meeks is being converted to a tight end. I think that might actually make him fairly valuable. He has bulked up. For those who didn't know, he came into training camp at roughly 208 pounds. He's now reportedly around 223 pounds. That's still kind of light for a tight end, but it's roughly 6'2". In the offseason, if he can add another 5 or so pounds, get closer to 230, I think he might be something there. We all see he's not NFL wide receiver fast, but he's not slow. He can get up in the air. He's going to add this weight. He's going to have to keep some of his flexibility and his pass catching abilities, but we're going to want to pay attention to this. He did play 14 special team snaps. This is something that, the Lions coaching staff continues to groom and develop him. Is it really going to impact this season? More than likely, the answer is no, but Meeks might be a bit of a find going forward. We talked in the preseason. I thought the Lions had a real weakness at the number 3 tight end. Next year, maybe this year, if he really supersedes growth, development, and listening to the coaches, whatever you want to say, maybe Jackson Meeks is going to be a diamond in the rough for the team. Pay attention to this one as we go forward. We'll see where it pans out. All right, offensive line, Glasgow, not a surprise. Yodi, not a surprise, 100%. Panay Sewell, 100%. Decker, played 87%. Came out for a few plays. Ratledge, 88. Colin, 12%. Skipper, 8%. And Nice, 2 special team snaps. So not a big surprise. What is a surprise is the offensive line as a totality was not great. And that means Panay Sewell, Decker, etc. They had some problems. There was some good out there for sure. There's some other stuff that needs to be cleaned up. I think every Lions fan, if you have a corroborating, piece of evidence why, if you want to doubt on the Lions season, what that could revolve around, it's probably going to be the offensive line. That's my assumption, that most of you will say that, hey, till we fix the offensive line, we can't go forward. There's not much you're going to do at this point in the year. I know some of you were upset when I said, simply maybe Miles Frazier can help out. I have no idea if Miles Frazier can help out. All I know is he has reportedly in camp looked pretty good, in practice pretty good. He's a big boy. He's big body. He's mean. He's athletic. Could he be the next Christian Mahogany? If he gets in the games and he proves himself, then you know what he is. If he doesn't, then you know what? He wasn't. At least that's my humble opinion. Take it for its worth. All right, defensive line. Aleem the Dream McNeil, 93% of the snaps. And man, that was quite a bit. Even played some special teams. Aiden Hudson, they got him down from 93 to 92%. Tyleek the Freak Williams, 50% of the plays. And this is a bit of an upturn for him over the last couple weeks. You could even argue he played pretty dang well out there. But I think we all get as fans, the defense as a totality played pretty well. Pay attention. If you want to, do some coaching stuff this week, pay attention to how the Lions coaching staff used him amongst other people to stop the tush push. Yeah, Tyleek did a great job on it. All right, DJ Reader, we know that this is more than likely his last year with the Lions, but one never knows, I guess. You can see his snap count kind of came down a little bit, more situational, but 47%. Roy Lopez, he's gone up for the second straight week. It's been a noticeable jump in Roy Lopez's snap count, and I don't think any of us should be disappointed with it. Lopez has looked phenomenal, albeit in a backup role, but yes, getting 28 snaps, 39% of the defensive snaps, he made an impact out there. Mo or Muhammad, however you want to refer to him, he's done a pretty good job too. A little bit less snaps there. Lacey took a noticeable step back this week. As far as his overall snap count, same with Wheat. All right, going on to the next one here. Let me scroll screens here. Linebackers, not a surprise. Captain Jack was all over the place, even playing special teams, 100% of the snaps. Alex Anzalone, 94%, and Derek Barnes, 88%. Why is this important to all Lions fans? You'll see when we get to the cornerback spot, but the Lions, and this wasn't just against the Eagles, it's been against a multitude of teams. They're not really playing nickel package a whole lot. They have so much faith in this linebackers core to play against receivers, tight ends, running backs. They're leaving these guys out there in all the situations. And at least in my opinion, let me know if yours is different. They played phenomenally against it. I mean, there were a number of times left in one-on-one situations against the Eagles and other teams this year that all three of these linebackers have held up in coverage. They've got after the quarterback. It just speaks to what the Lions have in the linebacker core. Let me know your thoughts, Duke Crew. When the end of the season does come, what do you do with Alex Anzalone? Do you resign him? Because I don't think he's playing as well as he did last year, but I think he's playing pretty dang well. Yes, he's getting up in their age, but he still covers people incredibly well. Grant Stewart, 23 special team snaps, and Ty Summers also got some special teams run. Cornerbacks, Amik the Freak Robinson played all the snaps, and you could say, other than maybe one or two pass plays, I thought he was all over them. Rocky Singh, doesn't have to be your opinion, but I thought that was the best we've seen him play. He was all over A.J. Brown. We all get the penalty to basically end the game. We all can probably agree it wasn't pass interference, whatever you want to say. I agree with Dan Campbell. The guy played phenomenal. He plays run support. He's physical in the pass game. I don't know if you can ask for much more. But like I was pointing out with the linebackers, see the snap counts here. You saw the snap counts with the backers. Now Mollett, had 8 or 25% of the snaps, and Whiteside had 1% of the defensive snaps, 11 special team snaps. You get it. The cornerbacks aren't having to go so deep into the roster or the depth chart because we're using the linebackers so much. Safeties, no real surprises here. Thomas Harper played 100% of the snaps. Brian Branch played 99, came out for one play. Maddox, 9%, and Daniel Thomas, 23 special team snaps. Special teams, real quick, no surprises there. All right, moving on from that headline to the next one. Dan Campbell expresses confidence in Detroit Lions offensive line despite struggles. Told Apex Sports, Matt Brown, kind of a non-story if you want my opinion. When is a coach, let alone Dan Campbell, going to come out and throw any kind of shade at a particular positional group? I think there's some good there with the offensive line. I think we all agree they're not last year nor the year before's offensive line, and they're not going to be this season. The Lions have got to figure some stuff out. Some of this is coachable opportunities. Ratledge, I think he's clearly been improving throughout the season, but you know what? He's still a rookie. The other spot, Yodi actually, I thought, played one of the better games for the offensive line against Philadelphia Eagles. Got exposed with some stuff. If you had to put me on the microphone, the mic or whatever, and getting interviewed by the detectives, I would say so far in the offensive line, in my opinion, Graham Glasgow has been kind of the Achilles heel. I'm just not sure, without seeing the other guys in practice, who you're going to put in to supplant him. Is there somebody else in free agency? Is there somebody else on the team? Could you go get someone else? You know, for those who want Frank Ragnow to come out of retirement, the problem is he's no longer weight training like he used to. Reports are he's dropped 20 to 30 pounds, which isn't uncommon for a defensive or offensive lineman once their career's done. They just don't have to hold that kind of mass and muscle, etc. So they lose weight, and it would take him probably a year to get it back at this point. So probably, unfortunately, got to take Frank Ragnow, running in with an S on his chest and a cape to save the day off the table. What do you do, Duke Crew, with the offensive line? In your opinion, I know it's a hot rod topic for a lot of us. So what do you do with it at this point? In my opinion, unless there's somebody on that bench you feel like can come in and help save the day, you got to coach them up as best you can. All right, the Lions defense proved it can show up in big games and stop the tush push. Sideline report, Michael Wander, whatever, with that one. Sorry if I killed that name. But I think we can all agree the Lions are going to be studied a whole lot across the NFL if they haven't already this week, next week, etc. What do they do to stop the tush push? There are going to be some that say, well, the Eagles' offensive line was beat up. Well, the problem with that, if you're saying it's just that stopped the play, we're ignoring the fact that throughout the season, the Eagles have had some offensive line issues and guys miss plays. Lions apparently are the only team to ever stop it, not just, multiple times in a game, but 5 times in a game. That got me thinking the last time we played the Eagles, we actually stopped it a couple times then. So I think to a degree, it's clearly the Lions coaching staff has identified something that everybody else is going to copy and mimic. The other part is the less easy to mirror aspect of the fact that you look at Tyleek Williams, you look at DJ Reed, Aleem McNeil, Jack Campbell. These guys are core pieces to, centering down on the center, not allowing him to crawl forward, and then have somebody with some mass hit the quarterback and deny him from going forward. Kudos for the Lions for coming up with it. We'll see if everybody else in the NFL can try to stop it. And I want to give credit where credit's due. We probably all understand when you go in the press booth at games, you've got, in this case, the Lions reporters, you got the Eagles reporters. Apparently up in the press box, a lot of Philadelphia reporters who normally are not the kindest to opposing reporting staffs said, hey, we give you guys all sorts of credit. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has performed that well against it. That comes from Jeff Risdon, who was in the booth, said it was a hot rod topic at the end of the game. A lot of the Philly reporters talked to Detroit reporters, try to make stories out of it for their content, etc. But the fact that the Lions shut it down once, twice, you guys get it 5 times in the game, give some credit to the Detroit Lions. And yes, when you get winks and nods and high fives from the other team, that says something. All right, Lions don't plan to stop being aggressive on offense, despite how well they're playing on defense, and they shouldn't. A to Z Sports by Mike Payton. I'm going to make this one quick because I've gone on too long with the 5 headlines now. As a coach, you got to be who you are. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be oblivious to making adjustments, learning from things that aren't working. But Dan Campbell's a gambler. I was on Johnny Gas Sports last night, and Johnny asked me a question about it. And I don't remember the exact question, but here's what I would say. I don't agree with the fake punt. I don't agree with one other time they went for it around the 50-yard line. And now that's me because I would be playing the position game, the field position game. I think the defense has been playing so well throughout the game. I'm going to try to pin the Eagles within the 20 if possible. Let the defense rise up. Maybe get them to make a mistake. And you know what? Now we're in better position to score. But there's so much that goes on in the mind of a coach. Let me throw this at you guys. Again, we talked about it on Johnny Gas last night. If the Lions make the extra point and they're up 7-6, and now, you know, some other things go a little bit differently in the game, maybe the Lions do kick a field goal, even though they're down 14-7, because then it would be 14-10. That missed extra point changes things, but my point with this is the Lions, they've gotten to the success they're at in the last several years because of the aggressiveness. It's the first time they've been 0 for 5 in a game on fourth downs. My opinion doesn't have to be anybody else's opinion, but if I'm Dan Campbell, I'm probably going forward reviewing in my mind with my coaching staff, where could we have done a better job with this? Yes, we want to be aggressive. I get on the 4th and 4 and going for it in the red zone. Why you did it, in my view, I might not have kicked the field goal there because I have enough belief in this defense, how they were performing that day, that we're going to pin you deep, get the ball back somewhere around midfield. And you know what? It's not a big deal. The Lions did have a great defensive performance. I mean, that's the downside of coaching for anybody who's never done it before. When you call a play and it's right, you're a genius. When you don't, you know, you're a schmuck. It's how it goes, man. All right, with all that done said, let's get over to the main topic today. It'll be interesting to see when we break this all down. What do you guys honestly think? You know, you don't have to listen to me. If you're not positive, Peter, whatever you want to say, that's okay, man. But my thing is, that's just how I'm wired. I'm going to break down the schedule, and I do think the Lions have a real good shot at A, winning the North, B, making the playoffs. I don't think the number 1 or 2 seeds on the table for them. Been wrong before, but it all comes down to one thing. You got to win the next game in front of you, and then you got to win the game after that. If the Lions win the next 3 games, I think they got a real good shot. 1, 2, 3. Let's get into the main topic of the day. All right, I'm going to have to hit some buttons here, but we're going to break down some schedules. You know, just real quick, you guys all know this upcoming week, we got the Giants. I'm hoping Vegas is right in that we win by 50 billion points so we can rest some dudes in the fourth quarter or whatever, and then just have an extra advantage. It is a big advantage, in my humble opinion, the fact that we don't have to go on the road for Thanksgiving afterwards, the fact that you get to sleep in your own beds, you know, one less day of travel. The Packers, you guys get it, they haven't been playing great, and they haven't been playing great for a while, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Whether or not they're going to have Josh Jacobs anytime soon, I don't know. It doesn't sound like this week, and if they don't have him this week, is he really going to be 100% against Lions? I mean, maybe he takes the needle, gets the secret sauce, and he's able to go out there and do something against the Lions. But the fact that they've lost their tight end and potentially their best running back for us, that's a big loss. Jordan Love has not played great this year. If I'm the Packers, I probably have some questions about him going forward. Do I want to keep him? You know, is he really the guy going forward? I think they're going to have to re-sign him or just keep him going, because what other options do you have? And he's probably better than most of the guys you think you're going to roll the dice on. And I know there'll be a whole lot of people that say, hey, man, that sounds like the Lions of Jared Goff. Let's look at their schedule, though. Let me bring it up on the screen. If give me 1 second here. Green Bay Packers schedule. Okay. So we'll play the schedule game, and I'll see if I can make this a little bit bigger for those viewing at home on maybe a smaller device. If not, hey, that's as good as it's going to be. All right, so going forward, you got the Vikings this week. Can the Vikings make a game out of it? We'll see. Their defense has played well. I think the Packers win this game. It's sad to say, but obviously we've been wrong before. Nobody picked the Cleveland Browns beating the Packers. Yet it happened, and so did nearly the Arizona Cardinals. All right, going after that, they got the Lions in Detroit. I think we're all going to pick the Lions to win that game. You know, at least I'm not going to root against my own team. The Bears and Packers. This is a whole lot bigger game than any of us would have realized, you know, just a couple months ago. I don't think the Bears can beat them, but they have been playing great. Now, they've been playing great against some lesser competition, but when you're a fourth-place team, guess what you get? A fourth-place schedule. We'll see what happens there. Broncos are going to host the Packers on December 14th. I'm going to give the Broncos that one. Packers in Chicago. Maybe Chicago can split. We'll see. I guess for now, I'll give that one to Chicago just because they're the home team. Ravens at Packers. Also, bigger than we probably ever would have guessed early in the season. The Ravens, as we all get, after they got beat down by the Lions, they went on a losing streak, trying to right the ship now. They have a chance to win their division. That's why I think this game is going to be everything for the Ravens. I think the Ravens win that game. End of the season, you got Packers, Vikings. I'd say flip a coin since it's in Minnesota. All right, let's go from that one to the next one. Hold on, if you would, please. I got to share another screen. All right, let me hit those buttons again. Let's go to, I tell you what, the Chicago Bears schedule. And we all get it. It's not as, going forward the rest of the way, it's not as easy as, the last month for them. Last month, they've had a fairly favorable schedule going for them. And let's analyze this one. All right, man. All right, let me hit that button. All right, this week they got the Steelers without Aaron Rodgers. I hate saying it. If Rodgers there, I probably would have picked the Steelers without it. Not that the Steelers can't win, but I'm going to probably pick the Bears to win that one. Now, after that, hey, the Eagles versus the Bears. I'm going to pick the Eagles all the day. I already talked about this one. Packers hosting the Bears. I'm going to pick the Pack Attack. Browns, Bears. Browns might not have a whole lot to play for at that point. We all understand it. Maybe one of their younger quarterbacks is developing that Browns defense. We all get it. We've seen it firsthand. It's undeniable. I think the Browns win that game. Packers, Bears. I'll give the Bears that one just because they're in home. But then you got the 49ers, Bears. 49ers aren't what they have been. They're still pretty good, though. I do think the 49ers win that one. And then, hey, we can all talk about the NFL gods, schedule game, whatever you want to say, script writing. But Lions to end the season, week 18. I think the Lions win that game. And yes, I know there'll be some in the comment section say they think the Bears are going to win. I don't know. I'm going to pick the home team. I'm going to pick our team in that scenario. All right, last one of the schedules we're going to break down here is the Minnesota Vikings. Let me pull it up on the screen for those at home. All right, again, I'll try to make it as big as I can. I know it's not going to be big enough for everybody to see, but hey, do what I can here. All right, let me click on that button. All right, we're going to start off with Vikings. We already talked about this one. Vikings, Packers. I'm picking the Packers. Vikings, Seahawks. I'm picking the Seahawks. Commanders, Vikings. Boy, this is going to be an interesting one, but I do think the Vikings win that one. Vikings, Cowboys. I'm going to take the Cowboys. Vikings, Giants. Probably taking actually the Vikings in that one. Lions, Vikings. I don't think you even have to ask me, but if you want to, I'll go ahead and say it. I'm taking the Lions. And then Packers, Vikings. I'm probably taking the Packers in that one. All right, now that we've analyzed the evidence, let's break down the Lions schedule because I do think there's something to be said for it. The fact that the next 3 games are all at home, to me, are a big win for the Lions. Yes, we get it. The New York Giants aren't the greatest team, but they do have a pretty dang good defensive line. And unfortunately, that's been a problem for the Detroit Lions offensive line. We talked about it after the Cleveland Browns game and multiple times since then. The big physical defensive lines are giving our offensive line some issues. But that also being said, I still like the Lions to win. So we go from that. You get it. You got 4 days. You don't have to travel. Massive, massive advantage for the Lions, in my humble opinion. I do think the Lions beat the Packers at home. And then here's the next one. The fact that you've got a week, just like the Dallas Cowboys, but the Cowboys have to come here again. You get to rest in your own bed. You have one less day of travel. The Cowboys, to be fair, I really like their offense, what they're doing this year. Their defense, I think that's where the Lions strike some gold in this one. They get that win. Now, here is the biggest advantage for the Lions going down the stretch. You leave the Dallas Cowboys game, and if my math's not wrong, you basically have about 10 days 10 days exactly to prepare for Matt Stafford, LA Rams, rest bodies, get guys back. I mean, whatever metric you want to say, you've got a week. You basically have a bye week to now try to right the ship and get ready for Matt Stafford and LA. Yes, it's a long flight. Yes, it's on the road. I can tell you, as somebody who's been to LA sports versus, Midwest sports, it's like a different world. And most of you guys probably watching on the screens get it. The Oakland Raiders, all that kind of stuff, that's a little different. Most of the other LA teams, the fans are just different there. And they aren't they love their teams. They just don't embrace it quite the same as we do, say, with the Chicago, Green Bay, Detroit, etc. I think that gives the Lions a big advantage going into the last month of the season. The fact that you have a pseudo bye week. It's not exactly 14 days, but 10 days is pretty dang close. All right, we already talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether or not Rodgers is back or not, I don't know. What I do know is he's not Aaron Rodgers anymore. He's afraid to get hit. He's lost a lot of velocity on his passes, and most of his deeper passes look like rainbows. I think that plays the Lions' advantage. I think they're going to eat the Steelers alive. That's a metaphor. I don't think they're actually going to eat them. All right, going to the final two games here against the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Lions bounce back and get this one. I think they're going to be more focused, better prepared. If not, then they're really... Everybody needs to look in the mirror if they're not prepared for that game. And then we all get it. It's going to set up the ultimate showdown, probably to decide the division, playoff spot, whatever metric it may be. But you're going to go into Chicago against Ben Johnson, your former offensive coordinator, yada, yada, yada. NFL is going to make everything out of this game. If it is a big impact game, it's going to get flexed. It'll probably be the primetime game that night. Because of all the different storylines involved. And I do think there will be a lot of things in play for that game. It's good for the NFL, for Chicago to make the playoffs, to be alive in the playoff race later in the season. Will they actually be in the playoff race? I don't know. I think their schedule isn't the greatest for them down the stretch, but I've been wrong before. All right, I've presented some evidence for you to consider. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and let me scroll over to you guys and get up to the top of the screen and see what you guys have to say. I'm still scrolling, still going. All right, here we go. Riley O'Brien, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew, and back at you. You got up extra early where you live. Robert, greetings and salutations. Always a pleasure to see you. Detroit Matt, good morning, Duke Crew. Pistons extended the winning streak to 11. Wings first in the Atlantic. We just need the Lions to get hot, and it's a perfect time with this 3-game homestand. I think Dan will have us ready. Woo! And I agree with you. I think I can only speak for myself as a coach. I can't ever talk for somebody else. Whenever I've coached different sports, if I've lost a game, man, I probably really don't sleep for the next 48 hours. I'm sitting there analyzing everything that could have changed in that game and then overanalyzing the upcoming opponents. So Dan Campbell, I think he's fairly wired like that. Bo, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. We're surrounded. Good! Exclamation point. That means we have them right where we want them. I like the way you're thinking with the woo. There you go. Silver, good morning, Coach and everyone. Back at you. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. Yes, sir. Exclamation point. The Pistons are rolling, Detroit, Matt, and I think the Lions will get things right this weekend and on Turkey Day. I like the way you're thinking. Hey, more. Good morning, Coach Dan and Duke. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time being a Lions fan. Woo! Good to see you, Henry, as always. Look at you. Top of the morning, Duke One Pride. This is a Debbie Downer free zone. Exclamation point. Show some freaking pride. There you go, man. And I get it. You got reasons this year to not believe in the team, and I understand why some people do. It's just, again, it's just not how I'm wired. That may be offensive to some. Apologies. It's just who I am. And don't ask me to be someone I'm not. Let's see. Alec, good morning. Coach Dan. Exclamation point. I would love to share some of the optimism, but I can't. The offensive line is the key to Goff's success as quarterback. I agree with that fully. That offensive line is a shell of what it once was. The rest of the division caught up to them. To a certain degree, I agree with you 100%. But if we also go back last year, Alec, the Lions won some pretty close games against the Vikings, against the Packers. I'm trying to remember the Bears teams. I don't know if they were close, but you guys get it. At some point, the coin doesn't flip your way. I just choose to believe that we're going to walk into games and get wins. I don't ever think we're going to lose. Jess, but good points by you for sure. Jess, greetings, salutations, Juku. We need to just worry about us, not everyone else. When we beat Green Bay, Chicago, and many, we will control our own fate. I agree with that. Our D is playing outstanding, and that's a big plus. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is a big plus. String theory, we used to hope, now we expect. And that's the big change in the last 5 years. Well said there, String. Lions fans forever hope they could be relevant. Hope we could at least be in, late in the year in the conversation for the playoffs. Now, the last several years, we've gotten to that. Now we expect to win. We expect to be in the playoffs, and how much things have changed. Drake, the offensive line is a problem. Alec, no questions there. Maybe Rat keeps developing and the tackles get healthier. I agreed on that. Not sure what we can do at center or right guard. I don't know. Yodi, I thought, played pretty well. If just trying to be as fair as I can be, I think the biggest problem on the offensive line is the center spot. Unfortunately, it just hasn't gone as well as the Lions coaching staff would have liked. But what's the answer at this point in the season? I'm not sure. Dell, good morning. I think we may win out. The run starts here. Let's go, Lions. Exclamation point. I like the way you're thinking. Hookadoo. Good morning, Henry. Dave, I get why a lot of fans are down on the team. I'm not a fan of zero trades to upgrade the line. I understand that. But to be fair, we've been in each of the losses. Agreed with that 100%. Could have won all of them. Maybe Coach Dan is right. Maybe he is. Maybe he is indeed. Let's see. Lionel, good morning. Coach and Duke Crew Worldwide. Exclamation point. Can't wait to see our healthy players on the field. We are getting healthy and at a good time. Hey, more. Good morning, my grit brothers. Hookadoo. There you go. Trim Raver. Good morning, Coach Dan and the mighty Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Let's go, Lions. Woo! And back at you. Hookadoo. Anybody heard from JDC? He's been missing a few days now. Was he on yesterday? I guess I don't remember, Hookadoo. I don't know. Alec, Drake, losing Frank and Kevin have been a massive loss. Deckard's decline is very visible, and Glasgow isn't a starting center. Any team with a front will continue to expose the offensive line right through the middle. To your point, so Jeff Risen was talking about this yesterday. Lions apparently did try hard to go ahead and get Kevin Zeitler to re-sign with the team. Zeitler apparently just wanted one final big payday, and I guess they even had some conversations about trading for him before the trade deadline. Apparently, he was not really interested, and the locker room was not interested, apparently, in bringing him back, so it kind of squashed the trade. Glasgow, I guess he's the best man standing, so whether you like him or love him, hate him, you got to go with him. Pat, good morning, crew. Back at you. Tori, some of you got, oh boy, cry and complain more than my kids. Things don't go our way, question mark, cry and complain. We might have to fight to win the division. Wow. Yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, yeah, I get it, man. We're going to probably have to fight a little bit more than anticipated to win it. But, hey, that's a sign of strength. Anytime things are competitive and you can compete and win, that's good for you. Okay, Trim, Lions Talk Live was littered with Bears droppings yesterday. Be the Slayer today, bro. I'm down with that. Hassani Manley, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Thumbs up. I missed 3 days watching your great broadcast. I was sick. Hey, I'm sick now, so trying to get over it. And thank you for watching the show. Hopefully you're feeling better, my friend. Henry Moore, David, you are absolutely correct. We have been in all of our losses with just a couple things our way. We could be 10-0. Yeah, 100%. That's probably the saving grace of it all, right there, Henry. Hey, Steve, good morning, Coach. Happy belated birthday! Exclamation point. Thank you for that. I'm hoping the Lions can get healthier on the offensive line and make the adjustments needed to protect our quarterback. Let's keep the faith. Woo! I like the way you're thinking, Steve, and good to have you back, my friend. Clark, I believe in this team and coaching staff. Me too. Trim Reaper, how about the Red Wings and Pistons? They're doing pretty well. Okay, Mr. Hassan, and good afternoon. How's the father of my favorite rookie today? Oh, yeah, I'll take that. France Ferdinand, Alec, let's see, you are dead right. If the offensive line can't play well, our running game and quarterbacks won't look good. No, you're right there. The offensive line's big. I think we all get it. Next free agency in the draft, the Lions are probably going to invest a lot in the offensive line, but we still got this season. Worry about all that stuff after the season. You got that right, Ms. Hassanin? You feel better? 100%? Egan. The All-22 breakdown of the Lions' defensive performance was a nice boost after the disappointment from Sunday night. I like it like indeed. So Scott, some of the fan base is clearly upset down with the team and the front office. We all want to win, but being negative all the time about it does what for you? Question mark. Drive yourself nuts. That might be accurate. 100%. Pierce, we all know the Packers hold the tiebreaker on us. Well, for now, the Packers hold the tiebreaker on us. We've got some work to do. 100%. Just win the game in front of you, then worry about the next one. 5 fingers, Freddie. I believe we will lose to the Giants, Packers, Bears, Vikings, Cowboys, Rams, Steelers. Good. Now, if we win any of those games, I'll be surprised. Now, that is some outside-the-box thinking. I like it indeed, my friend. See, Manley. Good morning, all my friends. Cynthia Hookadoo, Big Eddie, Mr. Big M, Henry. Hey, and back at you. Pierce, next 3 wins in a row, imperative. I like it like indeed. String 3. When the time comes, I am rooting for the Lions to beat the Rams. 100%. Well, let's get there, though. Stephanie Wilder, what do you got? Good morning, boys. Exclamation point. If you, as a player or coach, walk into a game believing you will lose, guess what will happen? Question mark. Food for your thoughts. I'll go with that. Yeah, well said. Bruno, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Coach, we control our own destiny. I agree. All we need to do is just win. Just win, baby. Jessica, Timmy was a Lions fan that was sure we would lose to the Bucs, wasn't he? I believe he was. Good call on that. Let's see, Bo. There's an eternal battle between the optimist and pessimist. You can never convert the other, accept that, and be at ease. Ooh, well said, wise man on top of the mountain. Okay, hey, 5 Fingers Fanny, I got a finger for you. Go with that. Let's see, Trim Reaper, Timmy with an exclamation point. Pierce, and we need Laporta back. We'll see when he comes back. Amy, greetings, salutations, Dan, the fabulous new crew. Exclamation point. Hope everyone has a superb day. Back at you, Amy. Good to see you. Feels like it's been a couple days. Mark GT, Lions need a true center. First pick next year. Draft like Frank was years ago. Something. Yeah, I think they're going to have to make a move for that. I agree with you 100%. 100%. Hossie Malley, good morning, my friend Surfer. Biggity. Good morning, Amy and Duke. Coach Rock. Good morning, Dukra and Hookadoo. It's time to turn up the grit for this week's game. Woo! I like the way you're thinking. Trum Reaver, can't wait for Davenport to get healthy. I think it's about here, my friend. Pierce, Mark GT, I would argue left tackle and round one. Maybe. Could be. I think they'll just go with whoever's the best option there for sure. Pierce, the Trim Reaper. That was last of all 5 snaps. All right. Steve Rogers in Davenport. They trust. Exclamation point. The Trim Reaper. Queen Mary. Good morning, Dooku. Back at you, Queen. Coach Rock. The grit burner is gonna get turned up. Yes, it is. It's me. Hookadoo. That was not that. Coach Rock. Coach Rock. Good morning, Mary. Coach Rock. Trim. You may be waiting a while. It could be. Hookadoo. Good morning, Mary. Mary. Good morning, my handsome Lions Talk Live brothers and queens. We are feeling the grit for Sunday. Yes, we are. Let's get ready for Sunday. Coach Rock, there are 3 must-wins in the division, and we will be all right. You get those wins, you're going to be feeling pretty good. Anymore, good morning, Mary. Trim Reapers laughing. Hookadoo. Pierce, tell me what your thoughts on Davenport. Coach Rock, who does Chicago have this week? A high school team that might be accurate. Steven, greetings, salutations to the Duke crew and Coach Dan. They will start a new win streak. Yes, I think they will start a new win streak. JC, greetings, salutations, coach and crew. Exclamation point, back at you. Anymore. It is my belief that the team consists of 2 or more. Each complement the other. Everyone working in unison. Without that, the greater the chance of failure. Excuse me. And I agree with you fully on that, even though I kind of murdered that, Henry. Sorry about that. King SJ, good morning, coach and Duke crew. And same to you. Pierce, Hoogdoo, I think record reflects my views on this matter. Ooh. Michael, 5 days into the big move to Florida. Coach Dan is my only salvation to the Lions. Love the show. We love having you. Hopefully having a good time in Florida. Liddell, we have a championship defense. Think about other issues. Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, I think you're right on that. The defense played pretty dang well. Run Pride, good morning, Duke crew. Good morning, coach. And back at you with the Pride. Queen Mary, my thoughts are the Lions are going to shock all the haters and the bandwagoners. You know, and I get there's a lot of people that you win, they jump on. You lose, they jump off. It is what it is, man. Let's see, Chad. Good morning, Coach Dan and the awesome Duke crew. Woo! Exclamation point. Not looking for Sam. Hopefully he gets healthy and he come back before the Rams game. It's possible. The Lions are being pretty tight-lipped on it. I did get some responses for those who asked. I know Detroit Matt asked. Or Detroit Sports, I should say, I asked. I just haven't had enough confirmation from people I talked to really go on air with it, so we'll see what shakes out. James, we're the team in trouble, I believe. Coach Rock, hope you feel better. Hassan, good to see you. Hugadoo, well, Pierce, we are on the same page. Matt Hicks, with no need to apologize. Yeah, just throw it out there, though. Hassan Manley, good morning, Coach Rock, Pierce, Sergeant, AB Spray, which you all have a good Wednesday. Well, I wish you all a good day, too. James, but sometimes you have to accept reality. Depends on what you view as reality, right? Don Burr, so now we have to apologize for being positive. Some people get in their feelings when they're somebody's, opposite them. So I'm not trying to upset anybody. How about that? Trim Reaper, Lions go 6-1 down the stretch. Oh, yeah. I like the way you're thinking. Daniel Colby, good morning, Dan and crew. Same to you. Coach Rock, Trim looking for 7-0. I'm greedy. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Pierce, Hassan Madley, good morning. Exclamation point. Derek, you be you, Coach. I can't be cynical enough for I can be cynical enough for the both of us. Hey, I'm glad to have my back. Thank you for that. Same old soup, just reheated. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Dooku. Same day, you, soup. The Trim River, I like 7-0 too. I think we all do, or would. Hookadoo. But if you reflect negative, you kill the fan base, and that affects the team. Exclamation point. Be that positive Pete. That is who I am without a shadow of a doubt. Sometimes the wife gets on me about that too. Silver Surfer. Mary Smith, I like the way you are thinking. 100% there. Marcus, no need to apologize. Coach Dan, we need more positive people in the world. It tends to be what I am, especially after a delicious Mountain Dew from the Circle K. Makes it even more. Pierce, Don Burr, realistically, down the stretch, 5-2 is doable. 11-win minimum needed for the playoffs. I'll go with that. James, they won't beat the Rams the way the O-line is playing. Let's hope they fix the line then. Steve, how has the O-line improved? Well, I mean, I can tell you how about this. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but Decker's got healthier, and I think he's looked better. Doesn't mean he's looked great, but he's looked better. I do think Ratledge has clearly improved from week 1 to now, and I think we all get that with him being a rookie. To your point, Steve, I think the left guard spot, Yodi isn't Mahogany, but he hasn't been bad. To me, the big downside has been the center spot. It's regressed. I don't know. Everybody has an opinion. How about that? Coach Rock, Shep going to Green Bay next year. Laughing out loud. We get a decent team after years of bottom dwellers, and other teams beg our coaches to help them. Shake my head. We'll see what happens with Shep. We've all covered it. There's lots of reports out there that teams would be after him, and I get it, man. He's done great. Rusty Madley, hi, my friend Silver Surfer. Dre Day, fair though. I've had us beating the Eagles but losing to the Ravens before the season. After week 1, I thought they would win both. Okay, I'll go with that. Queen Mary, thinking positively is always going to win versus the negative. Think about that. I agree with that, man. I can't imagine sitting there thinking it's all doom and gloom every day of the week. That would not me. How about that? JK, maybe Martin wasn't the issue. The offensive line is soap. Could be. Silver Server, Hosley Manley, good to see you, sir. Exclamation point. Don Bird. Bears, I don't know. Depends on what happens in the division. I see Bears running into reality soon. I do think their schedule changes exponentially down the stretch. I think we all can appreciate that. If they win some of these games we're not anticipating, then kudos to the Bears and Ben Johnson. But I think they're probably going to run into some freight trains here. Egon, the way the Ravens rolled us up in 23, I thought we'd lose that one. Yes, but we won that one. Coach Rock, if the coaches are under contract, wouldn't let them talk to any other team they sign on the bottom line. Unfortunately, that's not how it works, though. That's the tough part. James, our O-line will hold us back just like the defense did last year, plus Goff is super inconsistent. I'd say, prior to the last game, he was completing like 73% of his passes. That's pretty consistent. Kim, didn't Rodrigo play fullback previously? He has, and tight end for the Lions. Good call on that, Kim. He can help offense. It's possible. Dumber, that Vaki pick isn't looking too good, dude. Contributing nothing. So far, you are correct. That draft is probably something that they reviewed, and I'm thinking that's why this past draft, they changed some things, kind of went back to what they did before. Lone Lions, the next couple of games will be hectic, but I have faith in the process. MCDC will make things happen to get us over the hump, in your opinion. I'll go with that. Go Lions. Woo! Exclamation point. I do think, and we talked about it on Johnny Gaz's broadcast last night, I think the biggest thing I would change is you're still running some of the pass routes deeper, like when you had Ragnow and Zeitler, etc. I think you got to shorten them up, and that will help the offensive line. If I can see it, I'm assuming the Lions can see that, but one never knows. Dumber, shout out to first place Red Wings and Pistons. How about that? Pierce, Dumber, I have said that before, the 2024 draft in a way is a blessing. Only 2 I am worried resigning. Ooh, that's some outside the box thinking. Coach Rock, Make should be ready for some tight end reps now. It sounds like they've been conditioning him for that, Coach Rock, for a while. Now he's starting to get some reps. My guess is, he'll probably see some action. Is he going to end up being a tight end full-time this year? I don't know, but he got nice versatility there. I think moving forward, though, he's probably going to be your number 3 tight end. Maybe he supersedes and becomes number 2. JK, Rakestraw hasn't done much either on the iffy boat. He has been. Dre Day, everyone who says defense wins championships should feel good. We have a great defense. I agree with it. Me, I never believe that because you have to score points to win games. A great offense and a below defense is a win. All right, I'll go with that. Bert Pierce, yes, you have said that often, maybe very often. Okay, I agree, Coach Rock. Look at last year. Ben Over knew he had the head coaching job in Chicago, and he threw that Commanders game. Might be accurate. Hussie Manley, let all the fans to the positive thinking attitude. Hey, I am Positive Pete. Coach Rock, no linebacker or safety will have fun trying to cover him. Put Skip on short yardage plays. Maybe they will. Pierce, Don Bird, because getting 23 paid will be tough. The Trim Reaper, strange clouds today. Half the sky is gray screen and the other is perfectly clear. All right, I'll go with that. Well, sometimes weather's different. Cover Meeks, that is. I got you. Mary, right on that with one hookadoo. James, Ben Johnson didn't throw any game stopping. All right, Pierce, first round next year needs to go tackle round 2 center. I think that could be a part of the plan. Hookadoo, you have that right, Mr. Hassan. Steve, first round center. Wonder if they will. Silver Server, I love Dane Campbell and the fact that he is so dedicated and smart, but he has to get out of his own way. Can't be just Robin Hood every time. Trust the team. Exclamation point. Trust the defense and reward them with field goal. Steve Glasgow got to go. Unfortunately, I get your point, Steve, but who do you put in his place? I guess that's the hard part. Maybe after the season, but what do you do during this season? Coach Rock, we're on the same page, Hookadoo. You sign, you stay. Hookadoo, you have your opinion. Jimmy, I have mine. Nothing wrong with that. JK, Ben Johnson did toss the playoff game. Maybe. Pierce, Steve Waters, what do we do if Deck retires? Manu ain't it. Could be. Steve, I knew wasn't that good this year, brother. I think he was, but you have your opinion. I have my opinion. So I'll just say I think he had played well. Number Pierce, I think it will go pretty smooth, honestly, if we lose a few guys next year. Pascal, Reeder, possibly Anzalone, just to name a few. Yes, indeed. Steve, he needs to be better than Mahogany Brother. All right. Pierce, Don Burr, we all will be gone from that list. Could be. Coach Rock, Ben had his head up somewhere in his last name, and the Lions wasn't in the game. To your point, so for those who don't know, part of the process of interviewing would, in my opinion, there's only so many hours in the day, let alone in the week. If you're focused on everything you have to present for your interviews, go through all those hours of interviews, the flights, and I get they probably did some remotely, but at some point they would have brought him over to Chicago, meet with the owners, etc. He's as human as anybody else. He would be distracted by it. No different than any other coaches that go through the process. At the end of the day, if you're a coach and you have an opportunity to take and I'm just going to make up a fake number here. Let's say you're getting paid $1 million a season from the Lions, and now you're being offered $12 million a year from a different team. In this case, the Chicago Bears. He's as human as anybody else. He's going to be distracted by it, which means he has less time and less focus on the game at hand. It happens in sports just like it does in any other position. If you work at McDonald's and you're making, $1,000 an hour or whatever, and now Burger King offers you $10,000 an hour, you're going to be distracted by that. And it's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Remember, I will get better with reps in chemistry. I concur. Steve, I don't know, bro, tackle or center, both you're right, whatever order. Yeah, just improve them. Leo, are the receivers not up to speed? Does Goff not trust them? Rewatch the game, and we did put Monty and Gibbs together. When that happened, we drove, shake my head, why stop? That's a great question. Only Dan Campbell can answer that one. Dre Day, Silver Server, I get it, but the identity of this team is to go for it. If they change that now, I think they would lose the locker room. Every offensive player says how they love it when they go for it. Okay, I'll go with that. No, I must have missed someone who's a brother. I don't know. Pierce, Steve, also tackles are a higher commodity than good ones. Usually don't last till round 2. Yes, the high-end ones. Correct with that. Silver Server, Hosty Manley, I love your call for faith, but you should know about what kind of past we have. Most of us have never seen a Lions in a championship game, and there is a whole lot of old people here. All right. Pierce, Steve, Steve Wilder, okay. Steve, maybe brother, but this year Mahoney was basically a rookie, and it showed. Wasn't good. All right. That's your opinion. Trim Reaver, Benedict, and the Bears picked up Jalen Reeves-Maven. Hey, how about that? Pierce, Steve, want to be better prepared, unlike the Frank retiring. Yeah, and I do think that caught us fairly off guard. I get there are some reports saying otherwise. Dolo, Ben Johnson want to be Lions and Campbell so bad? Probably accurate. Trim River, the Chicago Lions. See, Ben Johnson's locker room is comical. JK, why didn't Zeitler bring his family here instead of leaving them there? FMBS. That I don't know. It's a good question, JK. Agreed. Dolo says, Mary, Steve, you have this nerdy-looking guy trying to B. Campbell, kind of weird, homie. All right, I don't know, but if it works for him, it works for him, right? Drady, Pierce, you're right. Graham and Decker probably in their last season or second to last. Time to prep for it. Agreed with that, 100%. Don Dolo, I laughed so hard at Ben and the Bears. They want to be us so bad. And you can see in Aaron Glenn, he uses a lot of Dan Campbell-isms, I guess you could say, in his locker room. Coach Rock, Silver, who are you calling old? Laughing out loud. Silver Surfer. But I am always telling myself, at least we had Barry Sanders 10 years, and we are the only ones who can say that. People forget or don't know, but it was like having Mike Jordan. Yeah, very similar. I see Manley. I see Anzalone was playing good against the Bears. He played with high spirits. I agree with that. All right, we got about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to power through and get people who haven't been on as much. Mary, I know you ain't calling us old, Silver. There you go. Bo, I always wonder how old is old. Ooh, it's a fair question. Let's see. 1 year can be old. 2 years can be old. Look at you, Silver. If the shoe fits, I wear it. Nothing wrong with that. JK, Ben J, a poser, winning games in locker room. What a con artist. All right. Probably a lot of con artists in coaching, as far as they copy what's working with somebody else. Strum Reaver, hail to the queen. JK laughing. Pierce, straight A. And Manu ain't the answer. That's unacceptable. Laughing out loud. Brian, eventually the house has to be done and built. Year 5 of this and still working on the basement. Sorry, just being realistic. Nothing wrong with that, man. Go with your opinions. Don Burris, Sewell, Tate Ratledge, Chris Mahogany, Miles Frazier, and blank is our offensive line next year. I think Sewell will move to left tackle, Frazier right tackle. Ooh, that could be something. Dre Day, James, let the Lions play the Bears schedule, and they would be number 1 in the NFC and probably number 1 in scoring. The Bears' competition is so low this year. Might be accurate. Broski Bear, Dan, do you think the backlash MCDC is receiving from going for it on 4th and 5 and fourth down 5 times? Will drastically limit the amount of times he decides to go for it, 4th down, going for it. I don't. When something like this, in my experience, happens with people, whether it's coaching or not, they almost double down on it. Well, you guys don't like it? Well, I'm going to show you. Whether or not Dan Campbell does that, broski, I don't know. There's a couple I would do differently, but everybody here would handle it differently. Each of us would handle situations differently than somebody else. At the end of the day, you have to do what you think is right and best for the team. And that's coaching 101. There are always going to be people that disagree with it. I've been blessed in 36 years. I've won whatever it is, 89, 91% of my games. Let that sink in like 500, 15,000, whatever it is, man, games. I've won like 90% of them. And yet there's still everybody doubting me. Oh, I would have done this. Oh, we should have done that. Oh, you should have played this person. Why didn't you run up that offense or that defense? I mean, that's coaching, man. And I can only imagine if you're 500 and not winning, what it's like. JK, no more Project Martin, please. And thank you. Yeah, I do think they learned from that draft. That's just my opinion. Silver Surfer, Dre Day, that's the only thing the players can say, but deep down, they'd love 3 points, a punt, and so forth. They'll be happy to see Coach make some darn good decisions, I tell you. All right. Queen Mary, James, you ate some bad grit this morning. Ben threw the game, and he's trying to be Coach Campbell. That could be accurate. L, Coach Dan, your positivity is why I tune in. Keep it going. That's what I try to do, my friend. James, I hate he went to Chicago, but I can't hate him for it. No, he made a decision. I think we agree on that for his family and himself. Don Pierce, probably wise to give Miles Frazier a shot at right tackle. I think that would probably be part of the future. Dolo, draft my new quarterback, Dante Moore. We'll see if they do. Ludell Ben Johnson realized he couldn't do anything else with Goff. Maybe. But let's also face it. Every assistant coach I've ever known, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, wants to be a head coach. Silver Mary, certainly not you, darling. Exclamation point. Dolo, he can't sit a year. He probably couldn't. All right, looking for some more people. I haven't been on as much. Leo, after watching the game again, I wasn't like Green Bay and KC lost. If we took the points, I think we could have won. But you have to realize that your offense is struggling. I agree with you. But again, Dan Campbell's got a different opinion. That's part of it. All right, Hookadoo. Coach Rock, let that sink in, Bears fans. Exclamation point. Dynamite. Wishful thinking. Don laughing out loud. Big D, yo, and back at you. Let's see. Trim Reaper. Hey, yo. Mazda. Weakness is offensive line. If they can solve that issue, then we can definitely get into the playoffs. Defense is playing lights out. Hopefully MCDC has checked himself into a 4th down rehab. Hope you feel better. Thanks, man. And I like the rehab for 4th downs. That was good. Coach Rock, Connor Lou was injured then he's your mom. All right, we'll figure that one out. John, laughing out loud, this team is not a Super Bowl team. I'm sorry to say. Well, we'll see if hopefully they can prove us all wrong, right? Big D, no joke. JK, pathetic. Leo, Cowboys D-line got way better. I think they did a good job with it, especially stopping the run. And they might want revenge for last year. I'm pretty sure they will want revenge. Lionel with the W. Bo, anytime someone says they're sorry to say something, they're not. Facts. That could be accurate. Coach Rock, who is this negative John? We'll find out. Johnny Gas Sports, good morning, Coach Dan Duke. Exclamation point. Thanks again for joining the show yesterday, Dan. Anytime, my friend. Looking for more people. I haven't been on as much. The Trim Raver, good morning, Johnny Gas, morning trim, mad stuff. Come to Jesus time upcoming for the Bears. Pre-K schedule is going to get more difficult very soon. I'm down with that. Coach Rock, if they allow hitting the quarterback, we'll get a bad injury soon, and they almost all do. Okay. JK, LMK, I'm not sure what that was. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking of it. Moonscar Blade, that's what happens when you play a 20-year-old sport at 50. You lose zip. I agree with that. And yes, he's lost some zip if you're talking about Rodgers. Silver Server, Carrie, good morning. Let's see, Carrie, did I miss a lot, Server? We'll let them dive into that. William, Goff's turned this team around. He's allowed to have a bad game. I get it, man. I mean, nobody has good games all the time. He did have a bad game. I think we all agree with that. Campbell, what do you got? Keep being you, Coach Dan. Exclamation point. That's what I try to do. Eddie's Fish. To all my Detroit Lions fans, friends, I found out yesterday that I have been accepted in the United States Golf Association of Adaptive Golf for people with disabilities. Congratulations, my friend. Cade Cunningham, can we get a shout out Detroit basketball? Exclamation point. And shout out first place Red Wings and Lions will be first by Sunday night. Lions will be first by Sunday night. Hey, shout out to all the Detroit teams playing pretty good overall. And yeah, especially the Pistons, Red Wings, man. They've turned things around. James, golf isn't it? What is it, I guess? Let's see. Looking for more people. We only got a minute or two left who haven't been on here. Cade Cunningham, golf will be fine. I have no conversation with him and Hutchinson. They said all three of us wasn't at the same point Hutchinson was called Bishon at one point. Okay, we'll go with that. Sup, Cade, says JK. Let's see, Steven. Remember, our Lions have the toughest schedule in the division. Very true. When we win the North, our mental has been truly tested. We're correct with that. Reality, Mike. Good morning, Duker. We all need to manifest. Lions are going to do the Super Bowl championship this year. Exclamation point. Woo! I like the way you're thinking. Attila Hunt. Talking about Frank Ragnow coming back or retirement should be banned. It isn't happening. Yeah, like I was talking about, Attila, I don't think there's even a remote possibility it could happen at this point, just because of, he's lost all of his muscles, a lot of his mass. He's lost like 20 or 30 pounds. Yeah, he's not going to be able to come out and help. Lions, James Winston actually played pretty good last week. He did. Bo, right on, Tori. Steve, fake news? What would be the fake news, I guess? I don't even have a remote idea of what it could be this morning. Trim Raver is laughing. Carrie, on what, Dable? We'll see if we get him. Leo, what's crazy is I think we'll lose to the Cowboys, but beat the Rams. Ooh, well, I guess it evens out then, right? Let's see, Lionel, is it Jimmy or Timmy? We'll find out. James, you go to the Packers page first. I got to pick somebody first, I guess. I mean, I don't know who. Dylan, also, what offensive lineman were they trading for outside of a 3-month rental and not going to be able to draft a starting lineman for several reasons? That was the same draft capital. Yeah, that could be. I don't have an answer for you on that one. Brian, if we only make a wild card game and lose the next few years, we take the Super Bowl, then 10 years of wild cards losing since we're losing anyways. Okay, we'll see what shakes out. Thank you, Attila, says Dre Dave. One pride. Stop the tush push gives me hope they can beat Philly. Should we see them again? I think we could. I mean, we lost a tough game. I think we could potentially beat them if we play them again. JK Bueno, I'll go with Bueno. Tillahan, offensive line won't be fixed by trading for a 34-year-old offensive lineman. Yeah, and the other part of it is, if you look at Zeitler this season, it does seem like his plays dropped off from last year. So that could also be part of it. Brian, I think St. Brown betting on the games after his performance. Maybe that'll be proven. Mastoff Glasgow is a glue horse. All right, though. Maybe it's about time for him to become the glue. I see what you're doing there. Brian, how do the coaches not see how bad Ragnow is? I don't know. That's a good question. Coach Shiny K. Hey, Coach and Duke Crew. Back at you, Kurt Steele. What up, though, Duke Crew? Exclamation point. Back at you, Hugadoo. Jimmy, we finally agree on something. Hey, you got to start with something and then move forward. Grim Reaper, good morning, Professor Steele. Silver Surfer, Broski Bear. B, you ought to know you don't care if they make the Pro Bowl as long as they take us to the promised land. I'm down with that. Seeks common ground, says James. Hookadoo is smiley face, says Silver Surfer. Mary Smith, good morning, Professor Steele. How you feeling this morning? We'll find out. Trim Reaper, it's hump day, baby. Yes, it is. Silver Server, Kurt Steele, JK, I'm out. We'll see you next time, my friend. Broski Bear, I think Amara is a lingering wrist injury. His grip isn't there. Very uncharacteristic of him this season, dropping so many passes. He's almost unreliable this season. He's been dealing with something for sure. Something's got him off a little bit. The Trim Reaper, have a good one, JK. Moonscar Blade, definitely something off of St. Brown's hands. Timing is off with golf. I'm done with that. Brian, if that Ratledge looked terrible last 2 games, all right? I mean, not this past game, but the game before, he actually led the league in fewest amount of pressures given up by a rookie at 0. And it's hard to do better than giving up 0. Silver Server, Asqua Yodi is right. I'd like to see Colleen. Well, maybe they will. Professor Kurt Steele, wife had me on early morning honeydew list. Nothing wrong with that. Moonscar Blade, Philly's defensive line is loaded to handle for any offensive line. Could be. Professor Steele, there's a boss up, ball out show at 8 a.m. following Lions Talk Live. We'll check it out. And about time for me to get out of here, right? The Trim Reaper, he's all shook up. Sometimes you got to get shook up. Oh no, Queen Mary, did the rabbit die? We'll find out. Steven, remember, life and death is in that. Our tongues be positive. Exclamation point. Same old soup. Lions don't lose 2 in a row. I like the way you're thinking. Queen Mary, I had to make my brothers laugh. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Make people laugh. Nothing. I like that. Steve, I am super positive about our team, but I just wonder how any team throws over the head of those Eagles defenders. Where in the world would those freaks of nature come from? I don't know. They drafted pretty well, though. All right, guys, I'm failing miserably here to get through all the comments. Pistons fans, how worried are you that we lost 3 of 5 games? Great show. Love it. I'm not worried yet. I mean, you've played some tough games. You've been in all those games. Let's see, how many offensive line guys to add last 3 years? They've added some guys. They just haven't all panned out. Lions, what do you got? Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Go Lions. Woo! Exclamation point. One pride worldwide. I'm down with that. All right. Any more that haven't been on? All right. I'm going to go ahead and get on here. I gave you 6 minutes of overtime. Got to get ready for work. Hey, if you guys see Thomas on our channel, tell him, hey, sorry if we got into it a little bit yesterday. Love the guy. He's been a great Lions Talk Live fan. But sometimes people disagree on stuff. So we'll go with there. Hopefully he didn't take it too personal, but is what it is. All right, guys, if there is breaking news later today, I'll get over to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before departing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons, be a good human being, do something kind for somebody you don't know, and see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.